Welcome to the IVM Podcast Network.
Just to remind everybody that language usage and content that we provide here may be disturbing, disgusting, probably will be and should be. Words like bloody custard and words that rhyme with that may be featured. Actually will be featured. In fact, perhaps will only be featured. Just warning you.
You're listening to Cyrus Says.
It's time to meet Cadet Viraf Feroz Patel, a man who will take the Parsi community forward by about 2.5 feet and then a U-turn back by 1.5 feet. With Apro app, his life as a model, actor, seaman and Romeo.
Cyrus says we have other shows too. You should check them out.
Hi, I'm Amit Gulbaksani.
I'm Purva Mehra.
And I'm Pranoti Datta. And we're from a city website called The Daily Pow. And we have a new podcast called The Powcast. So you can listen to us on the Indus Vox SoundCloud page as well as iTunes, Stitcher, and TuneIn.
You're listening to Cyrus Says.
All right, Cyrus Says is the name of the program, and another painful week has passed me by. And I was thinking of another painful moment in that week, and that, of course, was a long moment in a shoe shop. I won't take the name of the shoe shop, okay? But the shoe shop, when people go to buy shoes, I went there for the AC and a 5-minute break from the heat. But don't tell the guy who owns the place. And I sat down for a minute, and a guy next to me who was buying shoes or trying on shoes started singing. Now, I don't care who you are. I don't care if people would like to hear you sing in public, but don't do that. Don't sing in public unless the public has actually paid for it, and we have the option of walking out to a peaceful place and getting away if you don't like what you're doing. But if you're in the middle of something and somebody sings in the middle of that something, it's very difficult to get out of that situation without being very insulting on their face. I, of course, did walk out in the end, but I ask you, I'm going to repeat what he sang, and I ask you to listen, listener, for a second and tell me whether you would have sat through this. Fulla paakaru, channake siddhisate, fulla paakaru. And if you say that 5 times to an educated person, it just drives them completely batty. It's called Cyrus Says. Stop singing in public.
And that's what Cyrus says.
Yes, welcome to Cyrus Says, and we have a starting discovery. One of the Parsi community's greatest actors, directors, and now entrepreneurs who's come up with a fantastic new concept called Apro app. Viraf Patel.
Yeah, that's me. Viraf Feroz Patel.
Viraf Feroz Patel.
Please. I like my daddy's name in it.
I think that's fine. That's fair enough. If Sanjay Leela Bhansali can put his mummy's name, why be sexist? Put your daddy's name in the name.
Of course, my papa.
That's why I go with Cyrus Elvis Broadshaw, but they don't believe me for some reason.
But I have a very emotional story. Can I tell you?
Please tell.
You like emotional stories.
Even if I don't cry, I'll feel the pain.
Yeah. So
I'm already crying, by the way. You've not even started. Yeah, go on.
So I was like surrounded by my dad's old friends, and old, I mean, they are also old. Huh?
Oh.
Like, not just old, but they are also old. So one uncle who was like 82 and shivering, he's like, you come here, beta. I believe you're an actor. You know your father wanted to become an actor, but because of circumstances, he couldn't go to Bombay. And now you are an actor. So I was like, oh my God, this is really some sort of justice I must do to nature. So strangely, I have always made it a point to make sure Viraf Feroz Patel goes in the credits wherever. So you're giving me credit for anything good or bad, please put Feroz.
I'll do that, but my worry is what was the exact emotional quotient here? He couldn't go to Bombay for geographical reasons.
Not for geography, circumstance. So my, in the land ceiling act, my grandfather lost all the land.
But where was
he
the
went into depression, my grandfather.
Arey idiot, the Parsi community lost the whole of Iran. What are you worried about? Put things in perspective before you talk. Sorry,
he lost the whole of it. So dad ran it in a position where he had siblings and he had to sort of fend for them and sort of...
So he had to put his dreams aside. And this is a story actually of lots of people, and not just in acting, but a lot of people where the father has not been able to, for whatever reasons beyond his control, the son sometimes takes it forward.
Correct.
And does that. So Viraf, a very proud moment for the entire family. Let me quickly explain who you are. Viraf has done lots of modelling. He's also a bit of a mummy's boy who likes to live in Pune. But he started off as a cadet in the Merchant Navy between 1999 and 2004. And that's where 5 different Virafs were born in 5 different continents, for which, of course, you take responsibility. And
so you remember one of those Virafs walked up to you in a Pune event and said, I am a Parsi boy and I have done this anchoring, and can I come and meet you in Bombay sometime?
And do you know, a good skin specialist for my various different problems. Yes, of course, who can forget? And once again, Viraf, you also did lots of TV serials. You've done a couple of movies and plenty of ads. So can we just quickly go through all that little bit, if you don't mind?
No, please don't go through all of this.
Please. I'm very interested in Yash Raj teleseries. Do they still pay as badly as they used to?
Well, I don't know about the pay part, but they gave me the best work I've ever done in my life. So
which is the Mahi Way.
Mahi Way. So, Mahi Way was the first ever acting thing
and you
I
play
ever did.
Shiv Aditya Raj Merchant.
No, Shiv. You just merged the characters of both the shows.
So you're Firoz Patel, and I can put names together for my side. But come on.
So Shiv Desraj was from Mahi Way.
Right.
It's a cult show, okay? Some respect here.
Yeah, fair enough. You think we don't do our research? You think we don't know all this? We're testing you. Go on.
And then there was Aditya Raj Merchant, which came as Kismat. Kismat was supposed to be sort of inspired loosely on Cain and Abel.
Oh.
Okay, we're not supposed to say that.
Right.
You know, because then rights and all come into the mix and all. But that's what it was.
Also, Shresht in Teri Meri Love Stories. I want to ask you,
As in Teri Meri.
As a good Parsi boy, I struggle with spelling the word Shresht. Okay, it just doesn't come well. My tongue is, let's try it together first. It's Shresht.
Shresht. But you have to say it with some sort of a, you say it with a horny look on your face. It'll be like Shresht.
And if you have to have a horny look, I mean, whatever time of day, okay.
That's
Shresht. And I apologize for my horny look. Of course,
but are you getting it there?
I am getting it there.
Sounds so good.
So there's a certain hollow sound that comes at the end. Shresht. Almost like a reverb effect. And then the Teri Meri Love Story also would be tough for me to pronounce. You were opposite Shilpa Anand, no less.
You know Shilpa Anand? Are you pretending to know Shilpa Anand? Tell me honestly.
Honestly, I have no idea. But I just thought if I say it with a lot of people
like
flavor.
This Indian television is a world Cyrus Brocha belongs to.
That's not true.
You know,
That's not true. It's a generation thing. When I was 5-10 years earlier, I knew most of the TV actors.
Which is your favorite Saas Bahu show? I want to know.
That one.
Kinky Saas Bhi Bahu Thi.
That's the one. That's the one. And wait, let me give you all your credits. Mrityunjay in BBC's production. What is this? What is BBC's production?
So the great production house BBC from Great Britain.
Baba Broadcasting.
Baba Broadcasting Corporation, run by our great Mailita. They decided
Mailita. Correct. I know whom. I know Mailita.
Yeah. They decided to make a first daily soap in the country.
Right.
Their first adventure in the daily soap
Look at the amount of work you've done. The Ek Boond Ishq.
Ek Boond Ishq. So foreigners used to ask me, what does Ek Boond Ishq mean? I said, it means one drop of sperm.
Oh my God.
Then they say, whose sperm? I said, my sperm. So it's all about me.
Okay, with that kind of introduction, foreigners will stay in the country forever, Viraf, but...
They used to watch the show, man. I mean, then they didn't find any sperm or anything like that. Then they just like...
So let's put it in perspective. You've done about 5 lead roles in TV serials.
Yeah.
That's
something
not
like
bad
that.
at all. That's quite a decent amount. But let's all go back to 2004, was it? When your great moment came and you were titled. Yeah. I'm going to play music here. We'll take your time and answer. Mr. Grassam, India. Sorry, Grassam, Mr. India.
Yeah. But you remember that mutton curry and chapati you fed me at your house? And I said, Cyrus, I'm trying to do this Mr. India thing. And this is way back in 2004 or something.
Correct.
And Cyrus told me, you know what? Actually, that's not a bad idea because this John Abraham and Dino Moria, they also did this pageant thing. And now they make all like 1 crore a year and all. So that time, 1 crore a year for film stars used to be a big deal. And that was like,
that's
Cyrus is like,
1 crore a year
motivation.
Is what they say they earn and what they declare. So it's a different thing altogether. But I do remember you came to my house, you ate my food, you were very well behaved. My parents were shocked because none of my friends are well behaved. It's amazing. And then you won the Grassam Mr. India and your life changed. Now let's go back and understand. You were born to a Parsi family in Pune. And you were you did join the Merchant Navy.
Yeah.
So quickly tell us about your life in 1999 when you started your life as a young adult in the Merchant Navy.
The start happened because I have 2 elder brothers. One is 12 years senior to me. His name is Minod. He's a motivational speaker, corporate trainer and author, best-selling author based in Pune.
Okay.
So he's that part of the world. And there's Farhad, who is based in Dubai. He's a director in a shipping company. He's ex-Merchant Navy. So I was 18 and I used to be DJ by night and engineering student by day. But I wanted to become a millionaire. Like, I wanted to become rich. So I was thinking I'll do mechanical engineering and move on. But I got into electrical engineering, closing, percentage.
But isn't electrical engineering tougher to get into?
No, mechanical engineering was tougher to get into.
How the world has changed. In the 80s and 90s, electrical engineering was huge. Nobody could get there. You had to bribe our way through it.
Yeah. So anyway, I decided to quit electrical engineering and become rich by going to Merchant Navy and travel the world and all that. So I spent 5 years doing that. And then the Mr. India opportunity came by.
But tell us about the Merchant Navy for 5 minutes. So you haven't had a Merchant Navy cadet seaman.
Seaman, as in
yes, seaman. I give you that opportunity. Let it go on the show ever. So tell us what the life was like.
That's
I want people to become Merchant Navy seamen for 2 reasons. One, it toughens you because you get to travel, and 2, less Indians in India. So let's just push people out into the sea and let them go and get a great career in the Navy.
For those who don't know this about Merchant Navy, 90% of the cargo which goes across the world goes through the sea. And therefore, the seaman is a great man. Okay, he's not just seaman, he's a great man. It takes everything that's in our lives, this 90% is come by the ship.
Where all did you get to travel? And what did you do? What work do you do as a Merchant Navy seaman?
So I was a deck cadet. Decker, not dig
yeah,
cadet.
Okay, all right.
Just
no.
Making sure.
There's no need. Yeah, go on.
So deck cadets are generally navigating officers under training. So
okay.
you finish
clean the floor.
I've done all of that.
What is the worst thing you had to do?
What is the worst? I think going into the bilges of the oil tankers.
And clean them.
Clean them, making sure that they're spick and span for cargo, and then your captain will come down or your chief officer will come
and
down. And
urinate.
And see,
on you.
No, there is still something over there, so then you'll clean it with your something, whatever piece of cloth on your body and sort of get out. Of course, then there are cabin inspections and all. But it's a great life. It's a great life because the route Merchant Navy training follows is that they make sure you do everything that has to be done right at the bottom of the chain, so that when you become a captain, you know what it takes. So It's not like you can do MBA and getting into Merchant Navy. And so if you've scrubbed the floors and you've washed the toilets and you've done all that there is to be done, then when you become a senior officer, you know what it takes.
So when you're washing the toilets, did you think this is the way to get rich? Did it ever occur to you that maybe it's the wrong route?
So existential questions did happen. I thought I was going to travel the world. And see the places, but strangely that didn't happen because I was on oil tankers, and oil tankers.
So you didn't move?
Yeah, no, oil tankers move, but they're like parked.
They're like Inzamam ul Haq taking a run. It takes a long time to move anyway.
Yeah.
So what did you get to see? Cut to the chase.
I get to see it very limited. So if you're on a cargo ship, then you get to see stuff.
Right.
But not on an oil tanker or a chemical.
You get to see humpback whales.
Yeah. But I did get to see
killer whales, shark.
Some of the most awesome sunsets, and of course, those dolphin visuals.
Sunsets! All the way.
It sounds so mushy now, no? The most beautiful sunsets.
So you saw no marine life, you saw no different cities, nothing?
Yeah, of course. You did get to travel a bit, but that was not like a major.
Okay, here's the big question. What about girls? You're a young man, you're in the middle of the sea doing nothing.
That time there was no Tinder. We could have used Tinder. now the sailors must be using Tinder so often. So you of course, you get on, you have those experiences where you go into a boat, rather in a ship in Bangkok, and the pilot is not allowed to take the ship inside till you let a boat full of girls come on the ship.
What are you saying?
Yeah. And the pilot is the guy who navigates the ship to the port, because the captain doesn't know the inland waters, right? So the pilot is important.
Right.
So the pilot has a nexus with the pimp in the boat, okay?
Oh, I love Asia.
So there's a lot of, this is unsaid, but does happen, or used to happen. They'll throw the ladders up and there are like 40 girls on board.
Wow.
And there are these 35 men. And everybody's just running into the corners.
1 minute, let's do the math. So there's 35 men. One out of 10% are gay. So 32 men.
Not necessarily. They swing, They swing.
Okay. 35 men.
Happiness comes from
40 women. So there's 5 extra women.
Yeah. Sometimes chief officer takes 2. Takes 2.
Behave yourself. Don't make it a sexist show. And calm down. Cadet wants to go back in the oil tanker right now.
Yeah. Soon some Merchant Navy Association will be suing me after this podcast.
I think so. Oh, they're
spoiling the name of the
No. They're going to get they're going to inundate by phone calls, people trying to say, when can I join? Do you understand? But I want only Thailand sector for some reason. Yeah.
Thailand sector. But this happened.
But does it work in other parts of the world also, or just a couple of countries here and there?
No, only in this scenario.
So what if you were in the Bangladesh waters or something?
It's really ironic. See, I'll tell you the most ironic thing that happened is that I was in West Africa, Nigeria, loading. West Africa has a lot of oil, we all know.
Right.
So we were loading oil. We loaded oil. And after the loading, my captain says we have to do something like a stowaway search. What's a stowaway search? Just to make sure there is no
girl,
black person, colored person from that country, or basically anybody.
Why is the race important though?
Yeah, just to make, because if he's Gora, then he's most likely not from that place.
Okay. So you can't take a citizen of that place onto your boat.
And so there's a practice, the citizens of that country hide in our boat to get out of the country.
Oh, okay.
So they're called stowaways.
But how do they survive?
They just survive. There are many stories.
And for how many days? Like they'll hide in one place.
They'll hide. Anything to get out of the country for some.
And then once the sea's en route, the boat's en route, then they show themselves. How do they eat?
They sometimes show themselves, or they remain in hiding depending on the length of the voyage. But
do they ever die?
Some of them die.
God.
Some of them die. Some of them, you find dead bodies sometimes and all that. But that,
okay, depressing me. The show was going in the right direction. Let's stop there. Let's move on.
But listen to the irony of this. So in Nigeria, I'm doing a stowaway search, and then we land in America. Now this is post 9/11, where we are not allowed to step on that.
Why?
Because we don't have visas, and the US government has changed rules, so nobody is going to step off from this.
So what do? You just stay and look at America?
Yeah.
That's it?
That's it. And they denied me visa also once. Because I was a Patel, man. So my ship has gone to this Polynesia.
There are two sides to that coin.
So the most heartbreaking moment is my ship goes to Guam. There's this beautiful Polynesian island called Guam, which is also a US naval base. So
where
we were taking
a lot of torture tactics happened in later years, And?
Yeah. So we were taking jet fuel for the American US base, and the whole ship has got visa to, which is basically...
and this is a mixed race ship, right? Mixed communities and all that.
There's Filipinos, there's Turkish, there's Croatian, there's Indian
non-Patels.
Indian non-Patels.
This is before Mota Manas came to Prime Ministership.
Yes.
So I think the Patels would have been top of the line if it was 2014.
So 30 people get a visa, 31 Feroz Patel does not get a visa.
That's terrible.
Yeah,
what is the final reason?
So the immigration officers are very sweetly, politically correctly said, the immigration department may sometimes feel a person of a particular origin or race could be a threat to the security of blah, 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 blah. And my captain is like, sorry, Viraf.
What kind of threat? You'll build a motel? What are they worried about?
Something in Guam. So I couldn't. So that's one of my heartbreaking
So what did
stories.
you do? You stayed on boat and watched?
Stayed on boat and watched. But many, many heart-wrenching stories.
Did you ever fall in love? And what was the sailor's name?
Yeah, actually I did. I did give away my heart to one. There was a single mother who was divorced, and she was running so
do you realize you were already...
sea center, sort of a seafarers welfare center in Cape Town. Which was just so pretty, and I just had like a 10-minute conversation, but I knew I could spend like many years with her.
The way you're telling this story, I'm just thinking it's like a glimpse into your future. Because you'll have these ridiculous scripts that you'll be acting in a few years later in TV serials, which will be like this.
Can I tell you my...
goes to Cape Town, finds a single mother, go on.
No, listen, tell you, I so inspired from my merchant navy experience, I took a script to Aditya Chopra.
Right. This is the man who doesn't exist. No one's really seen him.
Nobody's seen him.
No one knows if he's really there.
Nobody's seen him.
And if his name is actually Aditya.
Yeah.
What does he look like?
He looks like you, actually.
Damn right, boy. Damn right. Go on.
So I take this script to the biggest producer of the Indian film industry, and I said, this is a merchant navy film, and I think you should make it. He's like, wow, this is a merchant navy film. I never thought somebody's made that. Then he goes through the synopsis, and he's like, you know what, this is like a very action-packed film, and I want to make a softer merchant navy film. So you don't change it for me. Look around, and if you're not, the next day, what film comes out?
What film?
That Tom Hanks film. That one...
Tom Hanks ripped your script?
Tom Hanks ripped our script, unknowingly, of course. What's that Oscar-winning film, which Tom Hanks came up with?
Let's just call it Tom Hanks' film.
No.
Let's not even waste time Googling. Saving Private Ryan?
No.
There's no ship there.
Captain Phillips!
Captain Phillips, Somali Pirates! Captain Phillips, I got it right. See, they don't know somebody else said.
I have registered my script in FWA, and I've got proof and all, so you can see.
So Captain Phillips, let's understand this. Now let's put this all in perspective for people listening. You want to meet a guy called Aditya Chopra who's a phantom in Bollywood. We don't know if he's really there or not, but apparently he is. He was very nice, but didn't bite in the end because he felt it was a bit violent and wanted a softer version of the thing. We leave that. Then suddenly, a few months later, you go to watch a movie. It's called Captain Phillips. It's your script, and Tom Hanks is the lead role, and it's a big Hollywood production where they've got an exact parallel in English of your sort of story. Now, you tell me, has not Aditya Chopra sold your script to Tom Hanks? Do the maths.
I think if he had been doing all that, I don't think he would be still making movies.
I think it's time to make the phone call
to Tom Hanks. Call Tom, please. Please call Tom right now. Tell him Cyrus wants to talk to him.
The truth is, Tom Hanks does exist. So it's better we go with the party we do know. We may get a reply from. But are you serious? So the script was similar to the Somali pirate thing?
Yeah. Heartbreaking.
How can that be?
You can't do anything now.
But there's a good chance it was flicked in some way, Because it's out there somewhere on the internet. Who knows? I'm just asking you. You gave a bound script to somebody else and you never know. Viraf,
but this
could have been that big moment.
But this happens. A lot of people have told me that I'm thinking of an idea and you go and make it and there may be no connection.
Listen, I wrote Ben-Hur.
You wrote Ben?
Yes, 40 years after the movie was made. Alright, so there's cheating going on, mate. There's cheating going on, Captain, Cadet, Skipper.
Look at this.
Give us some terms. Let's talk like we're
sitting
seamen.
here and accusing Aditya Chopra and Tom Hanks.
without abusing, can we pretend to be seamen? I want to talk like that. So what are the terms you say to each other? Like
Viraf Feroz Patel reporting, sir.
Viraf Feroz Patel reporting, sir.
At
which point he bashes the mic with his hand while saluting in true Parsi style.
Okay, Navy salute is this, huh?
Oh, Navy salute is like that?
Like this.
And
why?
Why?
This is Army, this is Air Force.
Okay, by the way, it's not visual. So you're doing this. Shut
so your palm facing outward is Army.
Right.
Your palms horizontal, like...
Yeah.
What is this?
Horizontal.
Horizontal is Air Force.
Right.
And palm facing you, and the salute is naval.
Yeah.
So why?
And palm on your head, banging hard is Nana Patekar, basically.
Ata maji satak le.
Yeah. Aja maji?
Ata maji satak le.
Done.
So
what is the theory?
The theory is that the Navy hands are dirty because you're playing with ropes and grease and stuff like that. So you
is that what you call it? I'm playing with my rope, boy.
Yeah, long ropes.
Pulling days
long
at
ropes,
sea.
Long days.
What a life, man. And Patel can't go on. He has to stay on board. Everybody's in New York having a good time. You got your rope. They call up.
Just roping around.
Yeah. Sorry.
So that's when 2004, 24th August is when I signed off my last ship, and I came to Mumbai. And
so at some point you must have decided that look, this is going nowhere, or you just
no.
You were just in a hurry and things were happening.
In fact, 2003 there was a recession in shipping, so I was sitting at home for 6 months.
Right.
And my brother was seeing that this guy's getting depressed sitting at home.
Right.
So he brought this Mr. India ad in front of me and said, "Why don't you go for this? You're a decent, go and do." He thought he'll push his brother to do something constructive in his time.
Correct.
So I applied for Mr. India. In 2003, they called me for the regional rounds and they selected me for the top 30.
Right.
At the same time, I get a call for the ship and I'm like, oh, man. So I went for the Merchant Navy choice. I finished my sea time.
Okay.
And then I tried again in 2005.
So you went back to the ship for 6 months?
Yes. Finished my sea time.
Okay.
I needed 36 months.
Right.
So I finished the remaining 6 months and I decided I had to be in Bombay for a year to give my second mates and, the grade exams. So I decided, okay, while I'm there giving my grade exams, I'll apply for Mr. India again. Applied and God bless, I won in 2005. Thanks for all the encouragement.
Yeah, for pointing you in the right direction. And literally saying you take the bus from here and go straight there. Okay, so we have to take a break, but you're really here not just to talk about your career, but your path-breaking new app called Apro App.
Oh, we're going to talk about that.
That's what we're going to talk about when we come back from the break. We're going to bring your partner in who's will help design it. Is that the right thing to say?
Yeah, his firm is sort of putting it all together.
Right. So that's Umeed
Kothawala. What a strange name. Kothawala.
So is Umeed. I was quite blown away, to use the phrase. I felt like a shipman who couldn't go on shore, stuck here on the ship. Oh, Viraf, how you suffered. Poor chap. Anyway, but we'll come back to your acting career and all a little later. But when we come back, we're going to discuss Apro App. And I just want to quickly tell people, Parsi community is what? Less than 1 lakh worldwide?
Worldwide. 61,000 in India.
Yeah, 61,000 in India apparently, and about most of that in Mumbai. And the breed is dying fast. One man has put his hand up to save the community. One man says, I don't need Aditya Chopra. I don't need Tom Hanks. I will save every single Shapur, every single Adeshar, every single Freni, every single Temina, and every single Boris. Because occasionally we name our Parsi children strangely. But when we come back, Viraf will tell us how and why his breakthrough invention is going to link us to more Parsis, at least for the next 4 to 5 years.
Hopefully.
Cyrus says, stop picking your nose, listen to this ad.
Now, if you want to listen to some brilliant indie music from all over the country, it's really simple. You can find me on Made in India. That's madeinindia.in. My name is May, and it's spelled M-A-E-D. Now, I've had some great artists on the show, including the likes of Nikhil D'Souza, The Cognac Net, Last Remaining Light, Tejas Menon, The Other People, Alicia Pays, Lakshmi Baum, Vasudha Sharma, Ankur Tiwari, and so many more. Now, if you want to subscribe, you can go to iTunes or Stitcher or your favorite podcast app, or you can find me on my website. That's madeinindia.in. That's M-A-E-D, or on Twitter and Facebook on Made in India.
And back here on Cyrus Says with Vira Firoz Patel practicing his Ravan impressions. I don't know, man. You do get whatever work you get sometimes, Fair enough. But now, let's get to the main point, which is this. And you actually startled us when you came up with this idea. I think it was in December early when you came to our studio and suddenly came up. I was quite... when you know an idea is great because when someone tells you and you say, why didn't I think of that immediately? So let's quickly give you the credit and start with Apro app. What the hell was that and where did that come from?
So, there are this couple of Parsi friends I have who are...
Out of 61,000 Parsis, I'm eating a ham sandwich, I'm sorry. You have only 2 friends. Go on with your story.
So, there's this very sweet Parsi bloke who comes from UK every time. And he comes from UK.
Freddie Mercury is no more, by the way.
He spends like thousands of rupees, comes twice or thrice a year just to mingle with Parsi girls so that he can marry one of them and go back to
And
UK.
now we're talking what age?
He's 27, 28.
Oh, he's still young. Okay.
I think he's 29.
From the Parsi side of it, he's extremely young. He's ridiculously young.
So he sweetly keeps in touch and all of that, like, hey, what's up and all. And I can understand his desire to sort of mingle with the community.
Fair enough. And this is not just a Parsi thing. Indians do this all over the world when they come back. Huh?
Yeah. Now then there is this Parsi girl I got to know of through another non-Parsi friend, and she's like, hey, this girl just broke up with her non-Parsi boyfriend and she's looking for a Parsi boy to sort of settle down with. She wants to marry within the community. I said, tell her about me. She's like, she doesn't want to get into actors. So I was like, oh, fine. So let me connect her with this guy who comes from UK every time.
Right.
So I tried to connect them. So then I just realized that, shit, I'm just doing what my mom used to do back in the day. My mom used to be a matchmaker, you know that.
What do you think, like professional?
Kachwali.
But professional.
Yeah. Professional, but she wouldn't take money. She would do it as community service.
Like actually network.
And I would remember she would have this thick file. And
is the file still available? I've been looking around for some time.
I should actually ask her.
Yeah,
and she would have a file and people would come with biodatas and pictures and just give it to her. And she'd be, okay, Likha.
So the original Shadi.com was your mom's idea?
Totally.
In a different technology.
This Anupam Mittal just stole it from my mom.
Damn you, these guys.
I'm telling you, this Tom Hanks, Aditya Chopra, Anupam Mittal, they just steal every Parsi's idea.
We are being persecuted and no one is... Will the government stand up for this? How much can we take? How much can we take?
You know, Tinder was my idea.
Of course. I don't doubt it for a second. Moving on.
Anyway, now Tinder happened, so I said, why can't we make Parsi Tinder happen?
And you've used Tinder? You've been a sailor?
Then I was like, maybe we just don't need a Tinder. We also need to throw in a LinkedIn sort of situation. So I decided to steal LinkedIn's idea also.
Okay.
And sort of come up with a Parsi connectivity app.
A hybrid LinkedIn Tinder thing.
Tinder thing. And sort of Pawajis have a pretext to connect.
Correct.
And we just don't want to procreate.
And let's be clear, it's not just mating. People joke and laugh and wink when they hear about it.
Yeah.
Apro app is more than just mating.
Yeah.
But mating is also part of it, but it's more about people actually connecting and seeing
we're
what
in a time where everything happens online except mating.
Correct.
Okay.
Well, once mating happens online, there's no point being a man anymore. I'm telling you, that's about it. That's the last pleasure.
Yeah. So there it is. So
okay, so let us introduce your partner in crime here.
Yeah.
And tell us a bit about him, and then I'll try and...
So Umid Kothawala I knew is this Parsi Technology Power Center in Pune. So I remember Umid was preparing Supremely talented.
Very
He's
elegant.
a theatre actor of par excellence himself.
Yes.
And he was doing these rehearsals in NCPA.
And that big?
Yeah, that big.
Boss, this is too big for our show.
And
we can't do this nonsense.
he was part of the Dramebaz Bawa competition, Parsi theatre competition.
The famous Dramebaz.
Yeah. So he was rehearsing for that in December, and I ran up to him. I said, Umid, listen, I have to talk to you about 2-3 things, but first is Apro app. I have this idea. Can you please support me on the technology part of it, because we got to make this happen. I can't make an app. I have the idea, but you make the app.
Correct.
And Umid blinked his eyelids thrice and he said,
which
okay,
is
done.
Parsi for yes.
It's Parsi for yes.
Now let's explain culturally these things so people don't get confused. Yeah. One blink means I want to go to pee.
Yeah.
2 blinks mean
I want to marry you.
I want to marry you. And 3 is
yes.
Tell Umid that he said yes.
Yes.
Correct. Got it.
So Umid said yes, and then I wish Umid could have a point of view to put in right now.
But thanks to technology and the powers that be, we here on Cyrus Says podcast, we are brimming with sponsors, as you can see everywhere. There's a poster of somebody or the other wants to be part of our show. Well, we can press this red button and you won't believe the voice of Umid will suddenly appear. I'm going to try. Hello, Umid. Is that you? Hello? Umid, can you hear us?
Hi, yes, I can hear you. Hello.
Oh, it was the green button. I'm so sorry. I think the red button looks green in a certain lighting. It was a mistake of the... Put that parda down.
We blame the lighting.
I'm sorry. That was your t-shirt, not the parda. I'm sorry about that. Umeed, welcome to our so-called podcast. Cyrus Says. I'm with Viraf Patel. Feroz Patel, who's... he wants to give you credit for engineering this product.
Yeah. He's in the midst of the chaos of engineering.
Oh, he's not finished the thing yet. So
he's still at it. So I was with his team for 4 hours yesterday.
Yes. And he's in the 19th over of a 20-over match, and he's almost there. So tell us a little bit about this whole Apro app, what it means to you, what you're doing. Explain it all to us, please, Umeed.
Sure. Firstly, thanks for having me, giving me a chance to share my excitement.
We begged you for a month to come on. Thank you. Yes, go on.
When Viraf brought this up to me in December, obviously a few light bulbs went on immediately. I think it's an incredible idea, and the opportunity for us to be able to do something for the community that is both fun and consistent with our slight eccentricity was extremely attractive. So what we're trying to build over here is it's a mix of LinkedIn, it's a mix of Tinder, it's something that's going to keep the Parsis engaged.
Umeed, we're falling asleep. Tell us a little bit more about...
Tell them the real stuff.
About your personal life. Now, have you suffered as a young Parsi man trying to meet Parsi girls?
I'm also suffering as an old Parsi man, actually.
Are you married?
Yes, sadly.
So you're looking for a second opportunity?
Second
Why
helping.
only second?
Well, absolutely. There are 61,000, there are about 24,000 women, and yes, there's miles to go before you sleep.
Yes.
All right, sorry I interrupted you. You were saying that you've put together this LinkedIn go on.
We want to. I think the idea is that we want to bring people of the community together. There's so many things that distinguish us, so to speak. So why not create a platform that allows our eccentricity to speak for itself, allows us to be ourselves, indulge in our lunacy within our own community.
Can you give us an example of that?
One of the things that we're thinking of within the app, for instance, is in terms of describing your personality, we're asking you what kind of colorful language you indulge in, what your favorite Bawa food is, how many old cars you own. These are things which are typically characteristic of Bawas. There's no other community that will that these things are going to appeal to or make meaningful connection.
And there are so many more I can think of immediately, like have you shut the fan or the geyser? Is the door closed? There's so many important things that we don't look at. But
absolutely.
But we can out here. I wanted to ask you, what do you think about non-Parsis getting involved? Because how will you tell? I mean, when they go online. I mean,
so we have a brilliant idea for that. We have a verification scheme.
What the hell?
Umeed, talk to them about the verification scheme.
Give us the verification scheme.
I'll let Viraf do that. I'm no good at all this.
No, but this is the first thing people have asked me. It's a great idea.
There are only 3 types of people in the world.
Correct.
Parsis, half Parsis, and non-Parsis. Okay.
Bloody hell. There you go.
Going by that, the Parsis will have a blue blood tick because we are blue blood,
right?
And then the half Parsis will have, like
red.
Cyrus will have, say a red tick, because he has blood.
And then
non-Parsis, no blood, no tick.
What a secular country. I love it. This is why when the decision was made to sail from Iran to Gujarat, of course the idea was Dusseldorf, but some mistake happened. But anyway, when they reached Gujarat, I think Indians were very happy. Indians were very happy that such a secular people would come and spread cheer and good nataks.
Correct. And now we're talking to Mark Zuckerberg to how to figure that mechanism out. So
Mark Zuckerberg himself is half Parsi.
Mark Zuckerberg's first T-shirt was given to him by a Parsi.
What do you mean?
That grey T-shirt he puts up, he wears only grey T-shirts. It was
a bit like a Shadra.
Yeah. So Umeed's relative gave him that first grey T-shirt.
Umeed, is this true that Mark Zuckerberg or whatever the Berg's name is it true that he got his first T-shirt from you or your relative?
Why the hell not, yeah?
That's good enough for me. If that's the verification, that's good enough for me. So again, is there any way to stop people fooling around? I mean, if you're a pretty, Parsi girl with a nice profile, Miss India, blah, blah, blah. I mean, everybody in the Johnny will try and get on board here.
So let her, we can't stop the Johnny in physical life, real life anyway. So why should we look at, doing all these
Okay, so let's not be negative is what you're saying.
Yeah.
And let's hope that
I can't stop Armaiti, like this Armaiti sitting in the studio. She's being hit on by this Amit by colleague over here. I'm getting so angry over here. How can Amit hit on Armaiti?
Yeah.
But how can we?
But Armaiti is 84 years old, so she's okay with it.
But still, she's Parsi, no?
Yeah. There's also old Parsi. Look at the fourth box. The blood is slowly dwindling. Don't worry about that.
So we can't stop Armaiti and Amit from getting on.
All right. So let's get back to this man who's... It's hilarious, Vira. We are talking to a small laptop and there's the still picture of Umeed.
We must also highlight the importance of Umeed's name in the app.
Yes, the similarity with Umeed, the hope and the hope of the Parsis. Yes, please tell us more. Umeed. And the full name. What does Kotawala exactly mean? You take it.
Kotawala, that will be difficult to explain. Umeed is, of course, hope.
Kota
hope for the community.
Like a hotel. Like a place where people go. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Would you like
So hope and... I don't know. How do you pitch it, Umeed? How do we pitch the significance of your name into the app?
Quite honestly, nobody has asked for the significance of my name in an app pitch before, so I have no standard reply for that. Huh?
Umeed, we are looking for sponsors. Baba, take this seriously. Now, your surname, there's some people, not us, some people feel that there might be a controversy attached to it. Is it possible for us to change your name from Umeed Kotawala to something?
Soda bottle opener wala.
Or even Screwwala would be fine because you're getting to the point in a sense.
Look, anything to get the bloody sponsorship in place.
There you go. So we dubbed the Umeed Screwwala. Fair enough. Done.
I think Kotawala is better. So
okay,
we'll stick with Kotawala.
We won't pull his leg. Poor chap can't fight back because he can hardly hear us at the moment. Okay, Umeed, stay where you are. We'll continue talking to you, but Viraf is now going to tell us a little bit about what's going to happen in the coming year. So how do you access it, and what are the dreams? What is the vision for Apro app going forward?
So Apro, now this is where I sound like all.
No, please do marketing pitch, because for 2 minutes let's try and see if you can sell your model also.
Okay, here's the Parsi connectivity app, like a never before Parsi connectivity app. So you have Parsis in the real world. Now we want to collect all the Parsis in the online world, like an online congregation of Parsis. So, and Apro app just does not mean it's for matchmaking or something like that. That would be like the worst way to sell it. Its idea is that it should be relevant to any Parsi in the world. So, middle-aged Parsi, married, moves to Canada from Bombay, wants to find out Parsis in his vicinity, where he can get Sadra Kasti, Bonu.
Or just someone to talk to.
Someone to talk to.
Who can't hear him.
He can just look for Parsis around him. Likewise,
of course, if he's in Canada and he wants Punjabis, no need for any app. Just get out of the door.
Correct. At the same time, if you're sitting in Andheri and you're looking for somebody who makes Parsi embroidery on the sari, and you just put that into the app and the keyword search, and those people will list it.
So it's just Parsi to Parsi, and we've got to get it out of the system. It's just about mating. I think people are taking that too seriously. Go on.
Yeah, and there's this great idea we came up yesterday with the team. We're calling it B-Bay, as in eBay. eBay na badle Bawa Bay.
Bawa Bay.
So what we'll have is Parsis want to sell some stuff, like Parsi want to sell houses, bikes, vehicles, husbands, wives.
One second, before you carry on, we'll have a problem with the East. I'll explain it to you. You see, eBay in Cal becomes B-Bay. So they might fight with us over the whole thing.
So we'll figure out. We'll call it some other Bay, but
But Bay will be there. We'll give you the first syllable later after we release the app. Go on.
See, because eBay was also a Parsi idea. They stole it from us.
They 100% stole it. It was a Parsi idea. I swear by God.
Isn't it, Umeed?
Umeed just shot himself. He's just gone.
I believe it was called Apro Bay initially.
Apro Bay.
Apro Bay. He's working. He's Googling away there on the side.
Correct.
So
what do Parsis want to sell to each other? Houses and cars and
share
bikes.
Certificates.
Husbands, wives, cutlery, everything.
Uh-huh.
So they can just go on B-Bay and put it up for sale, and I can go and buy it from there as a user and stuff like that. Of course, we also have this great feature called a support feature, where any Parsi looking for help within the community, someone's dealing with cancer, someone needs funds for educating their 18-year-old but who's traveling to America but doesn't have the money for the ticket. Anybody can have a need. They can list that need, and a Parsi who's feeling philanthropic and wanting to fulfill that need can go and connect with them directly. And there's this mentor section. So I am an actor, I want to get mentored by Cyrus Brocha. Cyrus Brocha can list himself as a mentor, and I can reach out to Cyrus, sir, can you mentor me?
Can I only mentor girl actors?
Yes,
I feel more comfortable.
Absolutely.
I feel I can mold them, shape them.
Shape them.
Put their minds and bodies at rest.
How will you shape them?
I'll do my thing.
Okay.
I'll show it to you on Apro app.
Yeah.
Available soon.
So soon, Apro app will have Cyrus Brocha as a mentor.
I think Umeed has stopped in the middle of the road. He's talking to us. So we have to let him go. Umeed, anything else you want to add before we let you go on Apro app? Looking forward.
No, thank you. That is
Umeed, this is
opportunity. I'm here.
One time you can tell them how hard it is for you to make this app. It's like you can confide
and
into
how you
our
want some more time.
Well, we always want more time, and the use of the word hard in the Apro app.
Stop it. You're right. You're right. We're all going in that direction. But
Yes,
Umid, thank you so much. Jokes apart, well done, and let's hope this connects a lot of people, mostly Parsis, but a few non-Parsis as well in the days to come.
Absolutely. Look forward to it. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, that was Umid, who's now mysteriously left our studio.
He's gone back to work on Apro app. Let him work.
About 160 kilometers away because there's deadlines to be made. Well, final word on Apro app before we round up the show. Viraf, this is an idea which is gratis. Let's be very clear about that. There's no money involved here.
Yeah. So this is a non-profit initiative.
It's fantastic. Because I think this idea could have made you a lot of money as well. Honestly, and there's nothing wrong with that as well. But you decided to do this from the goodness of your heart.
Even if it's costing us money, like Umid is running a firm and he's employing like 500 people in his office and they're going to put in their man hours and whatever. So Umid is going to, of course, help us minimize the cost. And even if it is going to cost us some money, we don't want to go to Parsi Philanthropy and raise the money. I want to crowdsource it.
Okay.
So that I will wait till the money gets crowdsourced because I believe in the Bawajis.
And I'm telling you, let the non-Parsis pay for it. It is a privilege to have Parsis amongst you. So go ahead and if you're a non-Parsi, you want your next generation to enjoy Parsis, you must crowdfund it from the non-Parsis.
Let me tell you what the other kind of love the app has been getting. So the app hit the news. We were on the front page of Midday and so I get this email from...
Midday is only one page. It's a small paper, but anyway, it's a good thing.
Yeah, correct. So they had us and there's this restaurant called Soda Bottle Opener Wala. So they reached out to us and they're like, hey, you want any events on Apro app, you can have it at our restaurant. So we'll be happy to host you. There's this crowdfunding website. They're like, hey, you want help to crowdsource your app and all, we'll sort of help you. So there's a lot of love coming.
All right. So if you want to spend a little money, extra money on helping the Parsis connect with each other so that the next two generations will enjoy, if not the tiger, at least the Parsi, well, this is the way to do it.
Apro
app.
Tamaro, Maro,
and
Apro.
Pretty simple.
Can't
get more simple than that. Okay, let's move away from that as we wind up the show. I want to talk about your career now. So, doing plays as well at the moment?
No, not really. I'm actually giving a lot of time to some work that I'm doing with Fiki and a startup that I'm again working with Umid. It's another app for making young people meet, but that's for profit. It's not non-profit.
Right.
And and I'm working on a new TV show which is in the pipeline. So that looks like Mahesh Bhatt's biopic.
Oh, and are you playing Mahesh Bhatt?
I'm not going to say anything.
But if you were, will you get rid of your hair? How are you going to do it?
Yeah, we'll find a way.
Alright. What about films?
So I'm doing a Gujarati film right now.
Oh, very good.
So
in the lead?
Yeah, so it's a 2-hero kind of project.
Okay.
So
there's Namoji, obviously, because he's the most famous.
I don't know about that.
You would like to duck the bouncer. Okay, so in the lead with you is?
So there's this other great, talented Gujarati boy whose name I don't know right now because I haven't met him.
There you go. These are the
because I am an insecure, selfish actor. I am not. I'm just concerned about my part and all. Script lover. This is my part. I'll do it. But yeah, I'm really excited to this filmmaker called Nikhil Musale, and they've made 2 Gujarati films earlier, very acclaimed. One of them is Beyar. And I never thought Gujarati...
Now, Beyar is 2 friends, not Bihar, the place, because it confuses people. And
actually, I think it's Beyar Sukarech. One of that.
Okay.
But
it could also be Beyar available here. No,
the strange story to that is that they contacted me randomly on Facebook and I thought, Gujarati film? What Gujarati film? And I said, send me the script, I'll make a choice. I was so floored by the writing. I'm like, I want to do this, guys. Please take me.
Good budget?
Very good budget. We are currently rolling in at about... How much was Dilwale made in? About 153 crores.
Correct.
So we told them we want to do 154 crores because that is our peg. This Gujarati film with Viraf Patel is going to be costing.
And the Gujaratis don't have the money. Who has the money? I ask you.
So whatever we're falling short, we'll ask Namo sir to help us.
You can try. You can definitely try. All right, Viraf, nice having you. Thank you so much for being here, and congratulations on your Apro app and all the other inventions that are around your corner, multifaceted. But before we end the show, we have a thing called the AMA.
What's an AMA?
Now, I'm going to explain this to you by actually pointing to this button, and suddenly AMAs will start.
Okay.
Cyrus says, ask me anything. If you want Cyrus to answer your questions on air, send an email to whatcyrussays@gmail.com. If you send us a link to a sound file on SoundCloud, we'll even play you asking the question in your own voice. And that's what Cyrus says.
Yes, yeah, on Apro app. Sorry, here on Cyrus Says we were discussing Apro app, and we sold the whole show to Viraf Feroz
I know,
Patel.
that would pay Viraf some money.
Now,
and
Amit, look at his story and look at yours. He's been a cadet. He sailed the world, well, actually 5-10 feet somewhere
Right.
outside Thailand. And he's also been an actor. He's been a model. He's working on feature films now. He's
Okay.
working on all kinds of things. And he's an inventor and an entrepreneur.
And he's making a documentary.
He's making a documentary on what?
The Daughters of Sex Workers of Kamatipura.
Oh, really? Wow. That's interesting.
Yeah.
What about us, the sons? Oh, sorry, just kidding. That's insensitive. That's wrong. Amit, first question.
Okay, first question we have from Rajinder via the website. What do you think of this Bombay smog because of the garbage fire? Isn't it nuts?
Let's give this to Viraf. He's a Pune boy who's now settled in Mumbai, so his perspective will be even more neutral.
I thought
I have nothing nice to say about Bombay. I did till 1981, so you'll have to do it.
funniest thing I saw about the fire is that the fire caused the smog, and this poor Shiv Sena team had gone for this study
The
tour to
Andamans,
Andamans.
yeah.
So this fire happened, smog happened, and poor thing, their trip just got...
But technically, they didn't know what was happening, and they sort of...
And then the media is saying that there is smog in Bombay, and you are in Andaman. How irresponsible?
Taking underwater photography, clear photography.
I thought that they were becoming like collateral damage of the smog.
So what's happening in Mumbai? Let's talk for a second. Delhi was supposed to be the bad city, the really bad city when it comes to fog and smog last 3-4 years. Suddenly Mumbai in the last week, when we're recording this, went to 300 plus on their,
yeah.
What is it, AMQ or QNAs or whatever?
The
Pollution index.
particle thing.
Particle index. So it's over 300, which is absurd. There's only like 5 cities in the world that bad. Viraf, Feroz, Patel, help us.
I think we're just going downhill. There is no hope for Mumbai.
I mean, it's a singular incident, though, right? I mean, like, this is not...
No, that was one bad day. There were 2 other bad days who were close to that, and then it's again cleared out.
But this is, I think, just entrapments of these terminologies. It's a polluted city, and just one fine day we decide to say that, oh, this was a very polluted day.
No,
but we had smog which made visibility very bad because my wife smiled at me twice, which is a clear indicator that she couldn't see. So I'm telling you honestly, smog was a huge issue.
No, it was. So I remember, I come up and down the Sea Link, right, every day. And
Well, that sounds very sexual, Amit. Say it again.
I come up and down the Sea Link.
Okay, Apro app wants you.
But so as you're getting on the Sea Link from Worli Sea Face, you couldn't see the pillars and stuff, the pylons.
Yeah.
You can't see them as you're getting onto the Sea Link. It's like that visibility.
And I
that
believe you
poor.
can see the fire from space or something like that.
Yeah, you can. I
But
saw
Amit,
that.
the 2 cops you ran over, that was not nice.
No, it was an
And that was the day the
unintentional.
smog cleared. So what's that all about?
So then I guess that might I can't hide behind unintentionality.
All right, so
I'll tell you my merchant navy thing.
how long will it be?
It'll be like 10 minutes. We used to categorize a garbage into 5 categories.
Right.
And that used to be a pain. And one of the best things of coming back home to India or Bombay would be like, oh, you can put all the garbage in one place.
Garbage
and
is garbage.
We don't care about who's doing
Name
that.
your city. That's the garbage.
Yeah, so actually that's something that's really surprising. No recycling bins, no
There's
aluminum,
no
no
garbage
plastic, no nothing, right?
categorization.
Yeah.
There's no garbage
But we
etiquette.
have garbage pickers, right? I mean, like that's actually like a class of people who do this
It's a
kind of
caste.
thing. It's a caste of people, right?
But here's why I think America is responsible. So America has a culture which sort of promotes consumerism and generates more garbage than any country.
Right.
And everything in our urban progression is aped or is designed to ape America, which is equates growth to more. So obviously we with a population 3 times of theirs are going to generate 3 times more garbage. What are we going to do with that?
Bangladesh?
Oh, we can have another island actually.
well, no, I mean, like, there needs to be better waste disposal.
All right, very
You gotta
quickly,
figure out
because this question now was answered in 45 minutes.
Okay.
Do you blame the Deonar fire, or is our smog and fog here to stay?
no, but I mean, I think that's clearly what it is, right? I mean, like
So we're not as bad as Delhi.
Well,
Don't panic yet.
it's not normally that bad, right? There's this huge fire going on, and we're having these terrible.
It's still
smog
going on
days.
while we record,
It's
many
still going
days
on.
later.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
still going on. I mean, like, and that's like I think the bigger thing, right? How can there be such an unchecked fire going on for so long in a place so close, right?
Yeah,
I mean, like,
unless it's the fire in the belly of Vera Feroz Patel to go and
that's a different kind of fire.
seize
right?
the world and change things in society.
Fire.
Reverb, fire.
This sounds like Beavis and Butthead. No, sorry.
AMA number 2.
Okay. What's been, this is from Rachna via email, and the email address, if you want to send an email, is whatcyrussays@gmail.com. But the question is, what's been the most difficult part of your career, and how did you get through it?
I thought early puberty was very difficult because I'm a late bloomer. I was the last guy to shave in my class. And I mean like MBBS last year. So it was really embarrassing.
Cyrus, what was your first audition? Do you remember?
Yeah. It was in school for what's that? Emperor's New Clothes. And we had to play the 2 swindlers.
No, for entertainment, for the business of
For the
entertainment.
business? Audition. They came to see my play.
You gave me my first audition to MTV.
Did I?
Yes.
Were you good?
Yeah. I don't know. Obviously not. They didn't hire me.
That doesn't mean you're good. Oh, they hired me. Where's the good here? All right. Yeah. There's also lots of painful moments. Marriage is one of them. After marriage, also terrible. Before marriage, some I don't know. I can't remember. Too long ago. But yeah, there are lots of painful moments.
Lots of painful moments. All right.
There's also herpes, hemorrhoids, and worse to come, I'm told.
Okay.
I've just started the 40s. Miles to go.
Don't worry.
Enough.
Apro app is there.
We will fix everything. Call Dr. Binay for on 782-423-1212 and she'll apply pressure on your pressure point.
Ding, 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 ding.
That's it. That's all I got on the
All right. It's bye-bye from all of us. We're off. Sail on.
Garbage.
Forever.
Categorization. Garbage disposal.
I thought we were glamorizing garbage. So that would be the way to go with it, but whatever.
You're listening to Cyrus Says.
All views and opinions expressed on this show are not necessarily the views and opinions of the Indus Vox Media Network or any of our show advertisers or sponsors. No animals were harmed in the making of this podcast, obviously.
All right, time to look at the podcast, P-O-D-C-A-S-T. It's, we have to push the pun from time to time because it's an audio medium. We can't write it for you. Hosted by the DailyPow.com's Purva Mehra, Pranoti Datta and Amit Gurbaksani. The podcast is your fortnightly lowdown on Mumbai's food and culture scenes. Plus, if you pay them money, they'll talk about your family and other animals. Listen on IVMPodcast.com.